Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Retirement Compass, the show dedicated to helping you successfully navigate to and through your retirement. I'm your host, Kristen Oakley, and joining me in the studio is Tim Kulhanek. He is the co-founder and a financial advisor at Stonebridge Wealth Systems. Tim, my friend, always a great day to be with you. How are you this week?
Doing wonderful, and yourself?
I'm doing very well. How's the family? We haven't asked about them in a while. I know our viewers love hearing about all of the activities your little girls are involved in.
Yeah, they're so cute. Like, I can't even emphasize it enough. Like, I have really cute kids. I'm clearly not this guy involved, so God bless you, Marley. But they had birthdays in June, so Lenny turned 4, Hattie turned 2. Hattie's, she's a parrot, so she repeats everything.
Yes,
really looking up to her big sister. It's super cute. And then I don't know if we've told our viewers or not that my wife and I are expecting again here this fall.
Congratulations.
So, yeah, that's coming.
Yes.
Thank you.
And do we know yet, boy, girl? Are we waiting? Is it a surprise?
Well, the first two were surprises, and my wife said, listen, we got all this girl stuff. If I'm surprised with a boy, I'm not gonna have anything for this boy to wear. So we're not waiting. So we'll soon, here in the next few weeks, we're gonna be doing some sort of gathering and finding out.
Awesome.
It's kind of funny, quick story. During Lenny's birthday party, it was around June 2nd, that's her birthday. She's sitting at the table, we sang happy birthday, this beautiful cake. My wife has a friend, a former colleague, who she's just amazing baker. She can bake any sort of like pastries and desserts and treats, and she makes amazing cakes, like very elaborate cakes. So she made this beautiful cake, and it was a tiger themed birthday party. And Lenny had a little tail on, and she's just so cute, ears. Anyways, sometimes when pregnancy happens, there's so much energy going to the baby that not as much energy gets above the shoulders, and my wife tends to say some things that she maybe just doesn't really think through, and I'm being very, very cautious about how I say this. Anyways, you've got all this family crowded around the table, and my wife's about to cut the cake, and she goes, okay, everybody, here comes the big surprise. And of course, everyone, except for my wife, is thinking, oh my gosh, they're doing a gender reveal right here. And I wish you could have seen my face. I'm like,
what?
What do you mean surprise? It's her kid's birthday. You can't do a gender reveal cake with a 4-year-old birthday party. Well, the surprise was the inside of the cake was designed in tiger stripes.
Oh, so very cool.
It was very cool, but everyone, you could hear people that are like, oh, what color is it? What color is it? I'm like,
tiger stripes.
So since then, we refer to the baby as Tiger Baby.
I like that. I like that. That's awesome. Well, congratulations. And
Thank you.
Talking about surprises, that's a perfect segue to what we want to talk about today. I think a lot of folks struggle with the surprise of entering retirement and not knowing where their income's going to come from, where your next paycheck's going to come from. And it's been said that success in retirement isn't so much with how much money you've accumulated over your lifetime, although of course that does play a factor, but rather your ability to take that amount that you've saved and turn it into a reliable, ongoing, steady stream of income that's going to last you throughout the rest of your life. And so rather than be surprised by what may or may not be there in your bank account, we wanted to talk today a little bit about some of the guaranteed income streams that can be a part of your retirement. And of course, first up on the list is Social Security.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about it. Because some folks are going, is it a guarantee, right? With where we are today?
So think about it this way. It's a good introduction. So think about it this way. If you were building a house, there's a lot of people when it comes to their finances, they kind of, I'm not going to pay someone for that. I'm going to go do a DIY. I'm going to go it alone. Because I know a guy, right? My buddy, he's a money guy, right? He plays the market. These are things I've heard in the past.
Oh, yes.
And to me, it's kind of like saying, well, I'm going to build a house, but I'm not going to pay a general contractor to hire all the right people to build all the different aspects of the house. But I know a guy who's a framer, and I mean, he knows how to frame houses, so I'll just talk to him and we'll probably get this figured out. Well, you'll have some walls, and you'll have some studs, and it'll probably look pretty impressive, but you won't have any plumbing, and you won't have electricity, and you might not have a foundation. So we got to find somebody who can do all these different aspects of a plan, and Social Security needs to be the bedrock, right? It needs to be the foundation, so that way, when storms come, you have something to rely on. So getting Social Security right is critical. So where do we start? Well, we start with the basics. Social Security is a program. It's called OASDI, Old Age Survivor and Disabled Benefits. It was really it was written into law, I think, August 14th, 1935. I might have it off by a year, but FDR. And upon the signing, he said, I'm paraphrasing here, today the hope of many years standing is fulfilled. While we can never insure 100% of the population against 100% of the hazards and vicissitudes of life, what we've tried to do is frame a law which will provide some measure of protection and income for those against the risk of old age and poverty in retirement. And again, I'm paraphrasing there.
Vicissitudes, by the way, that's a word you don't hear every day.
I use it all the time. I don't know.
Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
Old Franklin Delano. So the point is, when that was written in the law, average life expectancy was probably 60, 61. You had to be 65 to get benefits. And there was a lot of people paying in and not too many beneficiaries.
Right.
But then Ida Mae Fuller, she's the first beneficiary to get a monthly check. There was another fella, I can't remember his name, who got the first actual check, but it was a lump sum. He paid in like 5 cents and he got 21 cents back, something like that. Pretty good rate of return.
Right.
But Ida Mae paid in for, I don't know, a month or two, 3 months.
She paid in, I think she worked for 3 years, if I remember the story correctly.
Okay.
And so she paid in, I think it was around $24,000 total, right? But then her first, I'm sorry.
$27, I think, total.
Yeah, you're right. Okay. But when she got her first check back, it was almost.
It was like $24.75.
Exactly. Thank you. Yeah.
So in a month, basically 2 months, she's gotten more back than she'd received, or more back than she'd paid in. What did I say the average life expectancy was?
Back then it was like what, around 65-ish, right?
Yeah, it was like 61, 62.
60. Okay, so yeah, most people retired around 62. Maybe they lived till 65.
Most people didn't make it to retirement. That's always. That's why FDR said this is for people who live too long, right?
Yep.
She lived to 100 is the point.
Yes.
Okay.
And she ended up with over $22,000, right?
That's it. So the rate of return was insane.
Right.
The point is, there's a lot of stress on Social Security, so people are trying to figure out, well, what am I eligible for?
Right.
So what is the difference between eligible and entitled? Eligible just means you paid into the program, you've got 40 credits, which again is about 10 years of part-time work. You've reached for retirement benefits, okay? There's retirement, there's disability, there's survivor's benefits, there's spousal benefits. For retirement benefits, you have to be at least age 62, okay? And that's for eligibility. To be entitled, you have to file the application. I had a gal in my office a few years ago, she was 73 years old. Okay, Diane was her name. She had worked for the state for a long, long time, and she actually was still working into her 70s. And when I went through kind of her financial inventory, I said, Diane, why aren't you drawing Social Security? You're 72 years old or 73 years old.
Right.
What's going on? You're leaving money on the table. You're dipping nickels here. And she goes, well, that would just be more taxes I'd have to pay. Okay, that is not a good response, but here's the thing.
Right.
I thought Social Security, it only kept going up until you got to age 70. That's true. She was eligible at 62, she was eligible at 70. But they ain't gonna just send you a check. So you actually have to file the application in order for that income to start coming in.
Yeah. Well, and there's so much confusion around Social Security alone of, how much do I qualify for? When should I claim? As you mentioned, some of those key ages, you can go ahead and turn it on as early as age 62, but just because you can doesn't necessarily mean that that's the right thing for you. And then there's something known as your FRA, your full retirement age. So, Tim, why don't you walk through a little bit about how someone can decide when is the optimal time for them to go ahead and claim their benefit?
Yeah, for a lot of people, it ends up being around full retirement age, not specific advice, mileage may vary, but it is truly an individualized type of situation because, my dad started filing, this is before I got into this business, he filed for benefits at like 64 and then he kept working. Then he got this love letter from the Social Security Administration and said, hey, dummy, you shouldn't have done that. I can say that because he's my dad. You shouldn't have done that because you made too much money. You sold too many cars down at Midway Chevrolet, so now we're going to take back some of your money that we sent you. You owe us money back, and so they're going to withhold benefits. Because if you start claiming Social Security prior to your full retirement age and you're still working and you earn over a certain amount, which is pretty low. It's like $24,000 in 2024.
Right. Then you're going to be subject to those givebacks where for every $2 over that threshold, you're going to have to give $1 of your benefit back. And it's not like you get it and then you give it back. They take it out of your check before they give it to you. Yeah, they're going to send you a letter and said, hey, we overpaid you by this much, therefore we're going to withhold checks. And they only withhold full checks is the thing. So let's say that they were supposed to take back, let's just say $3,000, okay? And your check is
$2,000 per month, they're going to withhold 2 full checks, and then they'll settle up with you the $1,000 difference at the end of the year. So you got to understand full retirement age. If you were born in 1954, it's 66. But once you go beyond that, 55, you had 2 months for every year until you get to 1960, which is age 67. Okay, so you're born in 1960 or later. Right now, full retirement is age 67. Your full retirement age benefit is based off of your primary insurance amount. It's your highest 35 years of average index monthly earnings. I call that AMI. Okay, average index monthly earnings. And the tough thing about this, Kristen, is they don't have to just use the raw numbers. They index your earnings through age 60. And then they keep counting them, but they don't index them anymore for inflation. So like my mom's first year of teaching in Pleasanton, she made $7,000. That was her salary back in 1970 something, right?
Right.
Well, when Social Security looks at that, they don't say, hey, Tweet, listen, you made $7,000. Sorry, your benefit's going to be pretty darn low. What they did is they said $7,000 in 1977. Well, that's equivalent to whatever year she turned age 60. We're going to take those into today's dollars, and then we're going to do the 35-year calculation. So it's a lot more complex and nuanced. So here's what I'd leave our audience with for the end of this segment. Keep in mind, the Social Security Handbook has roughly 2,728 rules or provisions to outline how the program works. That seems pretty complex. However, then there's a second document, set of documents called the POMS, Program Operating Manual System. And that contains maybe another 100,000 rules to explain the 2,728 rules in the Social Security Handbook. So when you look at this seriously, the Social Security program is basically on par with its complexity as a U.S. tax code. Now, I know a lot of you wouldn't consider, for a lot of you folks, doing your complex tax computations on your own with pencil and paper. You're going to find a trusted ally to make sure that you don't go, afoul of the rules. It's no different with Social Security. The good news is at our firm, Stonebridge Wealth Systems, we've got an entire team of elite advisors who are trained in Social Security. We have a firm understanding of how it works, and we can help you maximize your benefits, make sure you're not leaving money on the table like our friend Diane was, and get what you're truly entitled to. Give us a call at the number today, and we'll help you do just that.
Thank you so much, Tim. To our viewers at home, that number to call to claim your complimentary written financial plan is there on the bottom of your screen, 866-256-7778. Or if you have your smartphone handy, you can simply pull it out, open up that camera app, and if you point, click, and scan that QR code down in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, that will take you over to a landing page, ask you a few short, simple questions, and then a member of the team from Stonebridge Wealth Systems will reach out to connect with you to schedule your complimentary meeting that way as well. We'll be back with more right after this.
If you think about the average American consumer, we don't talk about financial topics very often. And so we spend a lot of time at Stonebridge doing educational seminars and different things that are free of charge. If you're not educated in a topic, how do you make educated decisions? When you're working with a client, you're sitting down with them, they're a little stressed out, but after you go through the process and you really take time to educate them on not only what we're doing for them, but why we're doing it, that really gives them peace of mind, and you can see the weight just kind of drops. And when they leave, I hear all the time,
I really should have done this years ago. But sometimes there's a fear that somebody might try to sell us something. If the things that I can provide, if you don't want, don't need, or can't use those, I've got some good news for you. We're not going to sell them to you. We are fulfilling our fiduciary duty of putting their interests ahead of our own.
Do you own an annuity? Are you aware of what type of annuity you own? For years, annuities have been a cornerstone of retirement planning, but they're not all created equal, and your current annuity might not be serving your retirement goals. The good news is, rising interest rates could mean better guarantees and better benefits for your annuity. If your annuity is not working for you, wouldn't you like to know sooner than later? Call now for your complimentary annuity review.
Welcome back to the Retirement Compass. I'm your host, Kristen Oakley, here with Tim Kulhanek, co-founder and financial advisor of Stonebridge Wealth Systems. We are talking today about different guaranteed income sources for your retirement. And of course, in the last segment, we talked a lot about Social Security, the ins and outs, all the things that folks need to be aware of determining when is the right time for you to file for your Social Security benefits. Let's switch now, Tim, and talk about a word that often gets a very bad rap in our industry. Of course, that's the A word, which is
Annuity?
annuities. Yes. But here's the deal, is that you and I both know that there's a lot of different kinds of annuities out there. Not all annuities are created equal.
Yeah.
And the right kind of annuity used in the right situation can be a really powerful tool to help someone have a guaranteed steady stream of income that lasts them for the rest of their lives. So we have to talk about this tool.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, I don't care so much as what it's called. My concern is what does it does and what does that mean for the client, right?
Yes. Yep.
And at the end of the day, an annuity can serve a purpose within a comprehensive financial plan. It's not, there's no such thing as like, again, I use the terminology whiz bang. There's no whiz
I know, I
bang
love
product.
that. Whiz bang product. There's no magic pill, right?
Right,
Yeah.
silver bullet, however you want to put it, that's going to solve all of your problems.
Right.
But where we see annuities as a potential solution is, you know, I've said this so many times on this show, one of the main reasons why investors underperform the market, you know, we were talking in another show about the Morningstar analysis that said, hey, average investor is going to underperform by, like stock investor, by 1.7% per year. Why is that? Well, because they have a hard time sticking to things, their emotions get control of them. We talked on if you remember the show we did on investing fear during an election year.
Oh, yes, yep.
Yeah, and how when there's a Republican in office, Democrats tend to underperform Republican investors by about 1.7%. And it works both ways. When there's a Democrat in office, Republicans tend to underperform. Why is that? Because we let our biases impact and influence our decision making when it comes to our investments. So,
right, and just to clarify, it has nothing to do with the political affiliation. It's with how optimistic the person
100%.
is and how much they put in the market, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, because they're changing their allocation. They're
Right.
I'm going to move this back a skosh because I don't trust this person, right?
Right.
So where does annuity come in? Think about this like from another gap that we can consider. Your income from Social Security, because you did a good job, you listened to segment 1, you gave us a call, we helped you maximize your Social Security, we went through all the 2,728 rules, and we were able to find out of the 547 age combinations or whatever there is,
Right.
The one that works for you.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've maximized Social Security, and now you're going to get $4,500 a month from Social Security, but your expenses are $6,500. Shoot, we've got $2,000 per month we've got to make up.
Yep.
So that's what we call the income gap, the gap between your income and your expense. Now we're just simplifying this. There's obviously tax considerations to make.
Sure.
So if you think about it from a bucket standpoint, you've got your like safety, income, and growth bucket. Safety is going to be money in the bank. It could be money market, could be checking, savings, CDs. Could even maybe put savings bonds in there, like an EE bond. Income, that's going to be Social Security, pension, which we're going to talk about next segment. But also you could put annuities in that bucket. And then the third bucket is growth. Growth, sometimes I call it growth with risk. So this is going to be your stocks, bonds, mutual funds, exchange traded funds, your brokerage account, that sort of thing. And again, you have to have a balance between those. But what a lot of people do is they're pretty heavy on the right-hand side and not so much in the middle. And so what happens is they might have an emergency fund with 3 or 6 months expenses in the safety bucket or the bank or liquid bucket, whatever you want to call it. They've got nothing in the middle bucket other than their Social Security, and then all their wealth is stored over here on the at-risk side. Well, again, we could go back to past shows, go to our website, watch them. We talk about the sequence of returns risk, the difference between average return and actual return, and the risk of drawing down during a market decline. So what we need to consider doing, where an annuity can play a role, is you just reposition a portion of this growth with risk bucket into that middle growth without risk / income bucket. And so if we need $2,000 per month, we figure out, we just reverse solve, how much would we need to put into an annuity that would provide that, almost like you're printing it. Like it's mailbox money. It's going to come every single month, no matter what happens. And what that allows you to do is avoid the risk of making bad decisions, because you know that is going to hit every single month, guaranteed for your lifetime, and if you're married, guaranteed for the lifetime of your spouse as well, if it's structured properly.
You know, sometimes when folks hear all that, they can think, wow, that sounds so great, but it sounds too good to be true. And I know that one of the big fears that a lot of folks have about annuities are the fees, but you and I both know that not all annuities, again, are created equal. Some have 0 fees. So talk about like the difference between the different types and what you specifically are seeing works the best for your clients.
So I think the best way I can answer that question is just give an example. So I had a client come in, and basically their situation was he had money in his 401k. They had some brokerage accounts at an independent brokerage firm, IRAs, Roth IRAs, a joint account. And then they had a large amount in an IRA that was in a variable annuity, okay, with a large A-rated insurance company that everyone, like an American General or someone like that. A lot of people have heard about. And there was around, I want to say, it was over 400,000 in that annuity, 450,000. And the way it was structured was, it was kind of trying to do everything, but it was doing nothing really good. So it was like the old jack of all trades, master of none situation. It said, hey, we're going to give you growth. Oh, but by the way, the fees on this is about 3.7% per year.
Wow.
Really expensive.
Yeah.
We're going to give you income, but we can only give you 4.75% of your balance per year. So what we found was using this as minding that gap, or filling that gap, it was going to produce, around $22,000 per year in income. But then he can't pull any. That's all he'd be able to pull out of that, right? He's committed to using it for income.
Right.
So what we did is we said, hey, look, we can restructure this. We can find a product that's going to be more focused just on providing income. It's not trying to do everything. I'm not going to try to say, oh, we're going to give you this great growth, but also if you need income, we can do that, and just do neither of them any really very good.
Yeah.
So we repositioned those dollars, and let's just say it was $400,000. We were able to move around, I want to say it was like 260 or 70,000 into an annuity. We use fixed index annuities primarily because they're more focused on achieving a specific goal. That was designed to produce income, and it produced the same amount of income that he otherwise would have had if he kept his money where it was at, because it was just more focused on income. What that means is he freed up over $120,000 when we did all the math.
Right.
He freed up $120,000 that he was able to move back to his growth with risk bucket that could be used for, they want to remodel the house.
Right.
They've got vacations they want to take. They've got things they want to do for their kids, experiences they want to share. I always tell folks, one of the main best ways you can use your money is to buy experiences, right? Because your kids, they'll appreciate receiving money when you're gone, but they'll appreciate building memories that'll last the rest of their lifetime and that of their children a lot more. And that's the type of, it's really the outcome that I care about. So remember a minute ago, I said, I don't care what you call it. I care what it does and what it means for my client.
Yes.
That's what it meant for them, is more freedom.
Yeah, for sure. I've heard it said, be a memory heir, not a millionaire, right? It would be great to be both, but creating those memories is absolutely priceless, for sure.
For sure.
Awesome. Well, Tim, thank you. And I think for listeners, and viewers today, if they already have an existing annuity contract, a lot of people don't even realize what they have. They don't know that there could be another option. We talk about refinancing your current annuity. So talk a little bit about what they can review with you when they come in for that complimentary written financial plan, if that same situation applies to them.
Yep. So this is a call to action to all of you. If you own an annuity, I don't care what type it is, fixed, variable, indexed, now would be a time you'd want to give us a call. Why? The environment has changed. If you were buying a house today and you needed a mortgage and you had a time machine, you'd probably go back about 3 years to take the mortgage out so you could pay 3% instead of 6.5%. It's exact opposite situation today when it comes to fixed interest types of products. We have a window of opportunity before the Fed starts cutting rates or continues to cut rates, is what I really should say, to where you can refinance those annuities you bought 3, 4, 5 years ago or even longer ago and get substantially higher payouts, higher income, potentially higher upside potential for your growth. But you have to take advantage of the window of opportunity, because once those rates get cut and you see yields come down, that window will indeed close. So call us today so we can help you determine whether or not there's an opportunity to refinance your annuity.
Wonderful. Thank you, Tim. That number to call is 866-256-7778, or again, you're welcome to scan that QR code and that will get you connected as well. We'll be back with more right after this.
Do you own an annuity? Are you aware of what type of annuity you own? For years, annuities have been a cornerstone of retirement planning, but they're not all created equal, and your current annuity might not be serving your retirement goals. The good news is, rising interest rates could mean better guarantees and better benefits for your annuity. If your annuity is not working for you, wouldn't you like to know sooner than later? Call now for your complimentary annuity review.
Welcome back to the Retirement Compass. I'm Kristen Oakley here with Tim Kulhanek, where today we've been talking about different sources of guaranteed income to help sustain you throughout retirement. We've talked about Social Security. We've talked about annuities and how they could potentially, if used correctly, the right tool in the right situation could be another form of that. We need to talk briefly about pensions. I know you do work with a lot of people in Nebraska and throughout this region who do have pensions. I know there were some mass layoffs recently. Do you want to shed any light on some of the decisions that need to be made regarding that guaranteed stream of income?
Yeah, so we've had quite a few folks come in from, for example, Tenneco, which is just down the road in Seward, and concerned about what's been happening there, not only with the retirement security, but what do I do? What option do I choose? I've got this 401k. We get folks from Kawasaki, Nestle, the state of Nebraska, and they've got this cash balance plan. And it's hard to determine, what do I do? Do I take the annuity payment or do I do the lump sum? So here's what we do. Here's what I'd offer to our viewers here today. If that's you and you're trying to decide the best path forward, we've got a tool that's part of the written financial plan. It's going to be a comprehensive plan for you. Well, we'll sit down and show you. It's like, think of it like a dimmer switch and not a light switch, okay? We're not going to either say, oh, it's all or nothing. We're going to say, hey, you know what? We need to dial this in so it's exactly perfect, Goldilocks, if you will, for your retirement goals. And we can show you, hey, in order to achieve this goal, you want to take a vacation every year. You want to be able to buy that new car every 7 years and not have to finance it and pay cash. Here's exactly how much we should do in each of these different buckets. And we can tell you, hey, if you do that lump sum, it's going to give you X percentage probability of success. If you take it as a monthly pension, it's going to give you Y. And then it's almost like, being at the eye doctor and they say, is this one better or is this one? Is this one better or is this one? You get to look at it clear-eyed and you can be the judge what makes the most sense for your retirement.
That's a really good analogy because it is different for every single person. And this is why there's no substitute for really sitting down in the financial planning environment and looking at how all these pieces fit together. So Tim, thank you so much. And thank you to our viewers for joining us. As Tim mentioned, as we've talked about today, there's so much that goes into building a comprehensive financial plan. What could having one for yourself mean for you? What kind of peace of mind could that potentially bring? We encourage you, don't wait, pick up the phone and call that number you see on the bottom of your screen, 866-256-7778 to claim your very own complimentary written financial plan. Thanks so much for being here. We look forward to being back with you next time here on the Retirement Compass.